Hello everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, nice to meet you. Now, before I begin, my intention with this video is not to cover the drama and pretend I have something new to offer regarding what happened 6 months ago. I really doubt you click on this video not knowing what this drama is about, but I'm covering the basics just in case. So, Creepshow Art was a large commentary / drama channel with 100k subs at her peak. She began as a storytime / art YouTuber, which is how I got to know her and began following, but later on she began to dwell into mainstream topics. Allegedly, a forum exposed her to be a hypocrite, igniting drama and doxing a relative under the assumption she was doing it anonymously and no one will find out. Later on, people like Emilyartful began to speak out of how truly of an horrible person Shannon really was. And that's all I'm saying. Before sharing my thoughts, here are some interesting clips I found while searching for the evidence for what I wanted to originally focus on this video. I believe the following clips just showcase how double-faced Shannon really is, and the funny thing is, it is her own word.
Take what happens with Sashley literally every month or so. I am not a fan of Sashley. I don't know their content. I don't watch anything they've ever done. I wouldn't even say I know who they are. But I watch content of people who talk about her, and it's fucking wild how people treat this literal child online. Like, there is a creator who is literally 14 who people want to call every name in the book because she acts like a creator who is 14 years old. She is 14 and people are having post threads about why she is the worst person in the world, and I'm just sitting there like, that's a child, guys. People often forget that pretty much until you are about 25, your mind is in a constant state of flux, and you are constantly learning and changing and growing into yourself. People act like who you are and what you posted when you were 13, 14, 15, like that represents you for the entirety of your life, and that you are going to stand by it to the end of the world, and you aren't going to be and act like a hormonal person who is being ravaged by puberty and how terrible that shit is.
It is funny, isn't it? She's all like, let it go, she was a kid. While on her video trying to expose Emily, she brings up those posts regarding the teachers. But we are not done with that section. There's more.
Literally, back when I was 14, I was writing a story, a full-on 30-page story about being in love with Gerard Way, and made up an entire life where me and Gerard were together. And yes, at some points, that story did get steamy. Now, some part of my very stupid teenage hormone-fueled brain knew that I shouldn't share that story with the world because I would be made fun of until the cows come home, and also, you know, it's just embarrassing. I knew if people read that and were like, Shannon made that, it would be embarrassing for me. But I always feel like now, if I had made the mistake of uploading that to fanfiction.net, then that story would be used today to expose me in some way. Like my puberty fanfiction and fan art of me with an adult man that I was in love with because I was a hormone-addled teen going through puberty, that would be used to expose me as a fucking adult, which is the stupidest thing ever. Like, some stupid thing I did when I was young is going to be brought up as a reason to hate me now?
Oh yes, Shannon. We are gonna do that. We don't have the fanfic, but we do have Shannon's confession. She in fact wrote it. We cannot use the fanfic against her as she used Emily's old art and rants, but she just admitted she was doing the exact same thing Emily was doing. That's all the extra clips I found that could be related to her feature-length video on Emily. Now let's go back to my original script. I'm only bringing this up because Shannon herself, after 6 months of her entire expose, she finally decided to fight back, and it's not going well for her. I mean, I even add my 2 cents on it at the beginning. However, back in the day when I was debating if I should talk about this or not, the Creepshow situation came and went. This is why I generally don't like drama. You have to be on the loop constantly and pump the news and updates as fast as you can. By the time I felt this script was ready or almost ready, well, simply the drama died out. It's the cycle of this type of content. Unless you approach it from a documentary angle, the video ages badly and has no watch value. So only because Shannon came out of the woodwork, reigniting the entire situation, I said, fuck it, let's retake this script, tweak it a bit because it's been 6 months, and get on with it. Basically, I'll be speaking from the perspective of a former follower that at some point looked up to Shannon. If you ask me who were my top creators who inspired me to create content for my channel, it was Holly Brown, Twist Disaster, Creepshow, and Hopeless Peaches. And at this point, you can say only Twist Disaster is clean of controversy, I guess. The other three had gotten themselves into something, either as victims or perpetrators, but I'm only gonna focus on the Creepshow situation. Because of the four of my idols, she was the one I connected to in a more personal sense. She reminded me of those times when I also had that "I don't give a shit, I'll say and do what I want" type of attitude. And as shitty as that attitude tends to be on the long term, I cannot deny that back in the day, I was that type of person on my kid/teenage years. I was happy back in the day being that confident, edgy kid. Despite everything that went down with Shannon, I have to admit it, she did an excellent job connecting with her audience. But at the same time, because that connection was allegedly made with lies, it also tells you how good of a manipulator she could be, and therefore makes her a dangerous person to be around.
I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a little bit of a troll online. Like, I will go online just to kind of ruffle some feathers on purpose and just watch the chaos that ensues afterwards while drinking some water and burning some sweet-ass candles. But back on topic, I am a grade A multi-magnum dick when it comes to being online, because that's the way I was raised, and that's the only way I can continue to feel joy. Every other way is gone for me.
Now, I'm gonna share my experiences with Shannon as a viewer, the fan I was, and at some point I even thought we could actually be friends. Yeah, I'm not proud to admit that, and I'll get into details in just a moment. Again, this video is just to analyze my own parasocial relationship with Shannon and at the same time, how I felt she cast me away. I know my experience is not so over the top because I never had direct contact with her, but sometimes she did and said stuff that felt like an attack, not just as an individual, but the audience as a whole, especially her old audience, the one who got to know her as the art/storytime channel she was. So let's begin from the ground up. Why did I had a notion I could be friends with Shannon to begin with? Shannon began uploading videos on 2018, the same year I made my channel and start uploading too. At that time, I still had YWE as my main username. I already made a story time explaining why I changed it and re-uploaded all my videos. So back then, there was a small period of time we were at the same level when I discovered her content. That's why I thought I could approach her. Back when we were both small channels, I just wanted to connect with people with a similar size. But Shannon ended up growing so fast, so that small chance to genuinely connect came and went super fast. Still, no problem there. I just became a regular viewer and noticed that "I'll do what I want" attitude that hooked me into keep consuming her content. Things began to rub me the wrong way when she began to cover mainstream/drama oriented content. And this is just speculation from my part, but I believe she began to dwell into that content because she was really desperate to get into 100k subs. She was around 80 or 90k when she began to cover those topics, and I think she began to cover them just to reach that milestone as fast as she could. Again, speculation for my part. When Shannon reached 100k, she was already covering drama. But she wasn't blunt about it. She weaseled herself into the drama content. She first talked about story times, then art story times, then about art, then art drama. And then she began to alter drama and art drama. And later on, it became pure drama. However, some people like me did notice that transition, no matter how smooth she wanted that transition to be. And of course, some of us began to speak out. There's even one poll where she asked which drama she could cover next. And her most liked comment on that poll was about someone asking if she could do a story time, because we actually didn't like her covering drama. Again, this was during the transition period. People like me were not happy. And everything kind of imploded when she made a community post about updating the Jessica Geneve situation. A post she ended up deleting and making up a following post, blastering us for being horrible people because of how dare we speak our mind. Most of us were telling her that we like her because of her art and storytime videos, not because of this pseudo-activist she now wanted to be, because she claimed she had a big platform now. That was her logic, because I am big now my opinion matters, now I'm gonna get into topics my audience doesn't care about. Imagine Draw with Jazza suddenly making video about politics. Yeah, those 5 million subscribers are obviously there because they wanna hear Jazza's politics. Remember, at her 100k mark, a great chunk of her audience was not happy with said shift in content to begin with, so she ended up lashing out to her old fans. Here is the clip where she blasted us on video.
I am also going to be talking about the reaction that I received to this subject and why it's a huge issue for me. So I was actually going to post this video yesterday, but I had 2 videos ready to go and I wanted to know which one that you guys, my subscribers, wanted to see first. The choices were between a story time or the update, and 65% of you said the update, and I was excited. But that isn't the video I hit publish on, because less than an hour after the video was up, I was getting comment after comment after comment on that community post about how certain of you were tired of me talking about this drama and how you didn't care about the situation. People were saying, Shannon, you already talked about Jessica and who cares, it's done. People were saying they were so tired of me talking about endless drama and YouTube bullshit and they wish I would just go back to making story times instead. And that was the majority of my comment. While voting wise, people wanted to see the update over this, everyone who wanted a story time was commenting on the post why me talking about Jessica is a bad idea and about how I'm just a drama channel now, and that really bothered me. Actually, it bothered me so much that for the first time since being on YouTube, I was actually really mad. I was livid and I was shaking with anger because when I say we're going to talk about Jessica Yaniv, it is not similar and it cannot be compared to me saying, oh, let's talk about Jaclyn Hill being back on Twitter. It's not the same as gossiping about petty YouTube stuff. I am talking about a literal child predator. I am talking about someone who is determined to undermine the Canadian law to suit their perverse ideas, no matter how vile. That's why I am talking about Jessica Yaniv, because I think Jessica Yaniv should have their name so widely spread that it becomes impossible for people to accidentally fall into their grasp. To equate that with drama pisses me off. I was so livid. I couldn't hear. That is how angry I was. That is incredibly demeaning to the situation, and that is demeaning to victims of sexual assault, and it is truly absolute bullshit. And that was said to me by people who are my fans. It was said to me by people who say they love me and love my channel and want to support me, and that bothered me. If you guys don't like me being a commentary channel and you only subscribe to me for story times, that is fine. If you love the commentary aspect of my channel but hate the story times and hate my personal anecdote, that's good too. That's fine. But at the end of the day, do not talk about something as serious as child abuse and sexual assault and put that under the same list where you would list Jake and Tana's wedding. That is despicable. And every person who says that needs to remember that. Just because someone on YouTube is talking about it, that doesn't make it drama. If anything, I want this to serve as a reminder to people to think before they speak. I tend to fall short in that regard very, very often. So this is my reminder as well. But the fact that so many of you literally accidentally undermined victims of sexual assault and categorize gossip and tea and drama with a child predator, that bothered me, and I would be remiss not to include this part in my video. So without further ado, here is the video that I recorded yesterday.
This was the first time I personally felt attacked by Shannon. Again, all parasocial, I know. I also noticed how deflective she was on that statement. We, the old audience, complained we didn't like her new content, but because she was covering the Jessica Yaniv situation, she used that to say we were horrible people because we didn't want her to expose a predator. It wasn't about if the predator deserved to be exposed or not. It was the fact that you were on our channel, a storytime channel, and you are now playing activist and Chris Hansen. That is what we didn't like. That was not the gig of your channel. We didn't watch you because of the drama. But she twisted everything to make it look like, oh my god, look at these horrible people. That was the moment I snapped out of this parasocial relationship for the most part. Granted, it's her channel and can do whatever she wants with it. But at the same time, she cannot expect the people who put her on that position to just tell them to deal with it without some sort of consequence. What? You don't want to believe me? Maybe you will listen to Shannon herself.
Let's look at my channel. You see drama, commentary, storytime, all spoken over videos of me drawing. Every single one of my subscribers came for that kind of content because they like that kind of content. Regardless if it's technically good or not, 450,000 people clicked on the subscribe button to see that and only that. So, say, if I uploaded a video of me vlogging my life with me in it, physically in it, and it had nothing to do with the content that I have been making for 3 years now, my followers would not be into that. It would be too hard of a genre change for my subscribers to gel with it, to vibe, to like it. And when I say that, I mean literally, because if I were to make that kind of video on this channel, it would flop. I am talking less than 20,000 views flop, when the norm for this channel is usually around 100,000, somewhere around there. Would some people click on it anyway out of curiosity? For sure. But the majority of comments would be from people saying, what is this? I don't want to see this. I thought you were commentary. I didn't subscribe to see you vlog, Shannon. I subscribed to hear your take on latest garbage.
This is exactly what happened back then when she was around 100k subscribers. She is describing it, but she clearly doesn't remember.
So if I, Shannon, Creepshow, the girl who makes content that doesn't feature my face, much less what I do in a day, wanted to make that kind of content and pursue that, it would be better for me to make a whole second channel to do that on and simply tell my followers, hey, if you want to, I made a second channel for vlogging. I made a second channel for makeup. I made a second channel for any content that isn't what I'm doing here. That way my followers who like that kind of content or just like me so much they'll watch anything I'll do can go and subscribe to that channel.
It's funny how Shannon said that, because months before, when she did shift her content, she didn't follow her own advice on making a second channel or something. A second channel called Creepshow Tea or Creepshow Hansen or Creepshow Drama or something. No. That's when I knew she became a full-on drama/tea channel, Chris Hansen wannabe channel, and the art/storytime aspect was pretty much dead. After that, I just became a sporadic viewer. She covered a lot of shit I honestly didn't care about, and I'll only watch one of her videos if I happen to know about the situation from another source. I was in the notion of, oh, I already know about this, let's see what Shannon has to say, and that's it. But I never liked Shannon as my breaking news type of content creator. If I didn't know about a topic she was talking about, I wouldn't watch it for the most part. Because I don't know if you ever noticed, but she began to claim she cared. She always covered topics under the notion that she cared about what was happening. And I was like, girl, you sure care about a lot of stuff that honestly, for a regular person going on a normal life, wouldn't care about it. The only reason why will you care about so many trending topics at the same time will be to preserve your bottom line.
You see, Holly had been clear that she used YouTube for money. She had talked about it all the time. She talked about wanting to make more, and she was very into using YouTube for revenue, which, I mean, respect. I do the same thing. YouTube for money, I totally get it.
Because, oh my god, she was such an activist, guys. She deeply cared. She totally deeply cared. I know I'm a nobody for everybody who's watching, but I generally have the balls to tell people I don't care about this topic. I can safely say Shannon never cared about these topics deeply. Now, from this point onward, the few content I began watching, she made small statements that constantly bash us, her old audience. From claiming everyone who wanted more story times or art topic discussions were borderline stalkers. She even claimed we didn't wish her happiness cause that storytime/art content did not make her happy.
When I started making my videos, I was not happy. I wasn't. There's this idea that when I made my videos beforehand, I was super happy and I was going through all of this and all this stuff. I was not in a good place, physically or mentally. And just because I used to do something that made you guys happy, it wasn't something that fueled me the same way it fueled you. And I hope you guys can understand that. If you like my older videos, thank you. I mean it. Thank you. It means the world to me that the art I made in that time frame means a lot to you, because it means a lot to me. However, I do not want to go back to the person I was when I made those videos, because I was having panic attacks every night in my car, hurting myself, and there is so much more that I can't go back to that person. And I just wanted to say that right now, because in this video, which isn't wrong, by the way, I'm not trying to do anything, like, in this video, there are a couple of times where Toby says that they liked how I used to be, and they liked the older content that I made, and that I should go back to doing that. And the issue is that I don't like it. And I just want to say that now, that I'm not going to be going back to that, because I'm not that same person.
I mean, this last clip still makes little sense for me. As somebody who also shares her story times, I obviously share stuff that happened to me when I was a kid and a teenager, but I don't understand Shannon's logic that if you recall those memories, suddenly you become that person again. Like, that's her wording. I cannot do that content because I cannot go back to be that person. And again, I'm having a hard time understanding what she meant. We are not telling her to go back in time. We were not telling her go back being homeless and make more story times. I mean, couldn't she remember stuff from her apartment? Or maybe because English is not my first language, you can tell I have a very heavy Spanish accent. I'm sorry. But that's what I'm understanding from this clip. She's saying, I cannot make that content because I cannot go back being that person. What type of person, Shannon? The kid or teenager you were back then? Or do you seriously believe that bad juju feeling that if she made content like that again, bad luck will strike and was going to go back to her car and being homeless again? Like I said, I also have story times. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and when I was a kid, I was living in a different place. I was in a different position. Yes, I'm not the same person now, but remembering doesn't make me go back in time. I mean, if somebody understands what she meant, please let me know in the comments. The only wild theory I have is the following. We like her because of the storytime and art videos, but she claimed those videos didn't make her happy. Why those videos didn't make her happy? Because she was making them on purpose to torment Emilyartful. She probably at the back of her mind knew the true intentions of those videos, and that's probably why she wanted to move on from them. But we as the audience didn't know that. So Shannon was in this conflicting loop she didn't know how to get out of. She built an audience out of ulterior motives. So when she wanted to shift her content, her old audience rebelled. So she told us to get the fuck out because she wanted to move on to greener pastures where she was quote unquote clean maybe? I don't know, I'm probably making nonsense at this point. When we, the old audience, rebelled was around the 80-90 subscriber mark. And by the time she got exposed, she was at 500,000 subs. In a pure business sense, yeah, she sacrificed her first 90k subs for 400k subs. 90k is already huge for an art channel. She was already at the top of art channels. But for her, it wasn't enough. Even if she was still a horrible person stalking Emily and was gonna get exposed either way at some point, her fall wouldn't have been that hard. Cause remember, she took the drama, activist, and moral high ground route. The worst thing that could happen to someone in that scenario is being exposed as an hypocrite, a double face, a backstabber. If the drama would have stayed within the art community only, kind of like the Toby and the Hopeless Peaches ones did, hell, even the Holly Brown one, perhaps she could have had a chance to make a comeback and try to be a better person. But the nuke from the drama and tea spheres are way too big for her to ever come back. She will remain radioactive forever, and she knows it. That's why her video is a giant fuck you to everyone. But in my case, well, I'm not surprised. As part of her old audience, this isn't the first time she tells me to fuck off. Anyway, I just wanted to get my thoughts out there as someone who was one of her first watchers again. We were roughly the same size when we both started. I even dare to say I was one of her first 1k viewers and subscribers. Those 1k people that are claimed to be the hardest one to get on this platform. But to wrap it all up and be clear, I'm not planning to dwell into drama content. I just wanted to share my thoughts and personal connection with this creator because she inspired me. She was the creator I saw grow and say, well, maybe one day I'll be like her. Growth-wise, don't get me wrong. This is my kind of way to say, yes, sometimes the people you admire is not the type of people you believe they are. And it is okay to make this mistake. I mean, as a creator, the only thing I could do is try to not lose motivation and just keep going. The fact that Shannon turned out to be a bad person, that shouldn't affect my motivations to keep going. But from here on out, I'll let more capable people deal with that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon.